had that dream again. My small business needs to hire, but I don't use LinkedIn, and I hire wrong. So then I'm doing IT, and when I go to plug the servers in, they become sentient, and they won't let us access our network unless we forward their chain emails and memes to more and more and more people, and then I wake up.
Don't let hiring nightmares ruin your dreams. LinkedIn Jobs' new AI assistant finds and invites best fit candidates to apply, so you can discover talent you may have missed. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/quality. Start hiring today with LinkedIn.
Good morning, Crust. It's a great day to be a bread brother.
Ugh, mornings are not my jam. Or jelly.
Oh, come on. Stop loafing around.
I just woke up feeling hollow inside.
Psst, just grab one of the new Morning Uncrustables sandwiches, like Bright-Eyed Berry or Up and Apple, filled with 12 grams of protein and tons of deliciousness. Crust, what are you eating?
It's just granola, not even yogurt.
No crust, no fuss. Uncrust your mornings.
Thank you for listening to No Question About That. If you enjoyed the show, you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or you can support us at patreon.com/NQATpod, where there's merch and bonus episodes for subscribers. Welcome to No Question About That. This is the unofficial preview of the Europa League final, United versus Spurs. I'm Ed with Dominic today. How's it going, Dominic?
Yeah, good, thank you, Ed. How are you?
Doing all right. Nerves hitting. We did try recording this a couple of times already, so we're on to the fourth attempt, I think. Now, take getting in the way. But we have previously said, I don't think it's hyperbole to say this is United's most important game in maybe even decades, because of what it means in the status of the club. So we've had Europa finals before, we've had Champions League finals in the not too distant past, although it is coming up on 15 years since our last final, more than 15 years since our last final in the Champions League. But in the context of the club, short money really needs to give Ruben Amorim a boost next season. Status of competition, the fact that you're guaranteed at least 65 million from the group stages of the Champions League. United won't make that from the Europa League by winning it. And it's an accelerant to Amorim's project, or a real halt if we're not in Europe at all next season, and possibly even means selling a player, let alone getting in all the players we need. And the wider context of 400 odd people haven't lost their jobs at the club in the past year, and all of the reset and stuff like that. So it's desperately, desperately important. Important for Spurs as well, for different reasons, I think, but who cares? It's Spurs.
It's a good job there's so much to say about this game, because as you said, this is our third time recording, so we can keep saying different things, and there's a lot of kind of...
No one will know what we said.
There's different strands to it, and yeah, we could talk about how bad United and Spurs are. We could talk about how important it is to both of them. The weird situation that both managers are in going into the game is really interesting for me, and some key injuries as well for both teams. So yeah, there's a lot riding on it, and as everybody knows, they're two terrible teams, domestically at least, but the winner will justifiably get a Champions League spot, as much as that will boil the whole world's piss. You know,
it will, yeah.
It's going to be interesting in that way.
His mind is being blown at this moment. He can't stand it, although he hasn't had a problem for the last 10 years. So he's newly found Jesus when it comes to Europa League winners not being afforded a place in the Champions League. But yeah, as we said on our previous recordings, if this was Brighton or Brentford or Fulham or Bournemouth or whoever, no one would care and it would be a fairy tale. But this is Manchester United, so we can't have nice things. Or at least someone's got to fill some column inches. I did notice Martin Keown going at it. That man, I mean, he played 300 odd times for Arsenal, cannot stop thinking about Manchester United. That's all. He wakes up thinking United, goes to bed thinking about Manchester United. It's on his mind all the time. It's amazing. as it is with so many pundits. So there will be a whole bunch of randos asked by TalkSport to comment on this. But it is really important. It's really important for our club. It's really important for the fans going. We need some hope of some kind. There will be probably 30 or 40,000 United fans heading out, probably even more, heading over to Bilbao. It's logistically incredibly difficult. I mean, okay, once you get to Bilbao, but just a hard place to get to, not too many direct flights. So people will be heading into Santander or Bordeaux or Vigo or wherever and getting a train or a bus or a car from there. And it's a city that's not that big, so the hotel infrastructure isn't exactly there either. It's a challenge for all European finals, just particularly the Europa League and the Conference League, if a big team managed to get to the final. And so there we are. We've got a couple of big teams with big fan bases all be travelling there. There are fan parks UEFA have confirmed for the many, many thousands of people who do not have tickets. I must admit, I looked at it when I didn't get the ballot ticket, and then UEFA immediately opened up the returns, and I was looking at them going, oh yeah, not too bad. I mean, a couple €100 for the final. I'll do that. $3,000 for the flight for me. It would be a bit cheaper from England, but not much.
Not much. I looked at it. Yeah, probably quite similar, actually. That's the main reason I didn't look any further, because I looked at the flights and thought, probably not. But I do know, I've heard of people who are flying to Madrid and driving at Barcelona. And it's going to be crazy. It puts to mind to me the 2017 Champions League final. I lived in Cardiff at that time, and the final was obviously in Cardiff. And I absolutely adore Cardiff as a city. It's a brilliant place. But if you're talking about hotels and availability of hotel rooms, availability of any accommodation, transport links to the city, it probably was not equipped to host Real Madrid and Juventus's fans.
Yeah.
And basically came to a standstill for a whole weekend. And yeah, I guess Bilbao is a similar sort of thing and hasn't hosted too many European finals in the past. And is this a blessing or a curse for UEFA that two really big clubs and big fan bases are in the final? I guess there's the thing you say about logistics that will come to define whether it's a good thing or a bad thing for UEFA. They're always pleased when United do well, I suspect, because it draws in more eyes and more fans. Oh,
for sure. Yeah, for sure. It's important for the broadcasters and always the story around the world. Yeah, I just hope the Spanish police are sensible with their policing, unlike in France where they pepper spray for breakfast. All right, on to the actual game. So United have a few injuries, mostly defensive injuries that concern Lenny Yoro. He has been training. Will he be ready or not? Luke Shaw's general fitness. Matthias de Ligt looks like he's not going to make it. There could be a surprise, but he hasn't played for quite some time. So those are the concerns, other than the fact that we're absolutely crap. That's a general concern.
That's not so much a concern because Spurs are equally as crap. So, it cancels each other out.
Spurs are in fact worse, according to the league table, Aaron. 17th, and we are 16th. Woo, take that, you spuds.
I am frightened to death by the fact they've already beaten us 3 times this season, though.
Yeah.
I know there's a completely different context.
Though.
Yeah, this is because context around each other. I mean, Bayern Dane running under 2 in the League Cup, and that suicidal first half performance at Old Trafford under Ten Hag, where United literally played without a midfield.
Yeah.
It's probably worth mentioning as well. I mean, you mentioned the team news and the injuries, Ed, and you asked on the NQAT hosts WhatsApp group, just to give the listeners and viewers a peek behind the curtain. You asked what our teams would be for the final. And there's a couple of obviously doubts given the injuries. The really important doubts as well. The back 3 could basically change entirely depending on who's fit and not.
Yep.
I mean, Yoro is absolutely enormous for me. I think if he does miss it, it's a big miss. And we've seen him play Victor Lindelof lately on the right side of the 3, and I can't watch that in a final.
His last game for United, gaff guaranteed. Just 100% guaranteed if he plays, he's making a horrendous error. Yeah,
on the same side that Son will be playing for
I just
Spurs.
hate it. He won't be able to track him. Just no chance. That's an absolute no for me. Yeah, it is a big problem. Lenny Yoro, Maguire gives us a solid base, and the question would then be, is it Mazraoui or Shaw as the other player? And depending on which side, like Yoro can play on either side, his recovery pace has become really important. I think he's just grown in maturity, and also his ability to bring the ball out from the back and make an extra man in midfield. Pretty important for Amorim's tactical system, I think, especially in the build-up. And so, yeah, they will do absolutely everything to get him fit. Painkilling injections, rain dances, go see a healer, Dave Brailsford's EPO bags, whatever. Like, all of them. If he's not fit, I would probably go with Maguire, Shaw and Mazraoui as the back three and just compromise on one of the wing-back positions, and maybe even move Ahmad back. That has an additional benefit, of course, if you do that, in that you may be able to get Mount, Bruno, both in the team. If you do that, you certainly wouldn't be able to do if Ahmad's further forward. I don't know whether that's the important... Like, that's going to be, like, who supports whoever the striker is. And I'm just going to assume it's Højlund. I would do absolutely anything. I'd play a paper bag up there instead of Rasmus Højlund because it's about as useful. Like, again, don't want to sound like some hyperbolic, reactionary pylon merchant, but he's got 3 goals this season or whatever it is, and he's just been absolutely horrendous.
He's playing worse as well. That's the problem, is that he's actually turning in even more disastrous performances with each game. I mean, that Chelsea performance was...
God, it's so bad.
Really embarrassing.
He barely touches the ball because he just can't get in the right positions. He spends his whole time fighting, and imagine him fighting with Romero all game. Like, he's not going to win a thing. It doesn't stick to him. He gives the ball away half the time. So what's the point if he touches the ball, like, let's say 15 times in the whole game, and 7 of those touches go to the opposition? Like, what is the point? And it makes United play in the wrong way because they go long to him as well. I'd be so tempted to play a false 9. I just can't see what is the downside of doing that, because everything else is a hope. Like, you hope he gets some movement. You hope he gets in the right place. You hope he doesn't lose the ball all the time. But that's no kind of strategy at all.
No, but I just don't think we're going to see it. He hasn't trialled anyone, really. He trialled Mainu for half a game. Maybe 60 minutes earlier in the season as a sort of... I don't like saying a false 9 when a player that's not a striker plays there, because they kind of still are playing as a 9. Just because they're not a natural striker doesn't really make it a false 9.
Mm-hmm.
They don't play with a striker that drops as deep as, like, a classic Firmino false 9 or someone like that.
Well, right, yeah.
But it could be anyone. Like you say, you put Ahmad there, put Mount there, they would do a better job. And like you say, you'd get more of your quality players in the side. I mean, my way of getting Mount and Bruno in the team, which I think is a necessity, is to play Bruno deep alongside Casemiro and drop Ugarte. I think Ugarte's been in quite poor form recently. He's just passing seems to be way off it. I know what that does. I know it offers a lot less protection. And Spurs look like, without Kulusevski and probably Maddison, look like they'll probably go with quite a tight 3 in there. I think it'd probably be Sarr, Bissouma and Bentancur. So that's quite a sort of a hard-running physical 3. Can we afford to see Casemiro at times on his own in there, with Bruno sort of doing his thing, running around, and Mount further up the pitch as well? That's probably up to debate. I can see Ugarte giving the ball cheaply away, and the Spurs sort of doing his own transition. That's a bit of a fear if Ugarte plays the way he has been doing. Yeah. Well, Ugarte has been widely commentated. Like, his numbers on interceptions, blocks, recoveries, tackles, like, they're all sky high. It's just he's such a one-dimensional player. This is no surprise to anyone who's seen him at Sporting or at Paris, right? This is just a player he is. If he is trying something more ambitious than a 5-yard pass, it's often fairly wayward. And he, probably for those reasons, doesn't try anything more ambitious than a 5-yard pass most of the time, and that really harms United's build-up. I mean, the challenge with Bruno and Casemiro, and now, apart from the defensive side of things, like, are we going to caught on the transition? Are you asking Casemiro to do too much work? Are you asking him to cover 40 yards of space, as Ten Hag did, and which he can't with his legs? Are you asking him to do the counter-pressing, or Bruno to do it? Because Bruno can be headless chicken. Casemiro can't cover 2 spaces at once. We know it, right? So it definitely would cause a problem. But also, both of them can be, let's say, very ambitious with their passing. I'm actually surprised about how Bruno adapted his game when he's played at 8.
to become a bit more conservative, like showing what an all-round player he is. And he doesn't seem to have harned his creativity too much. He can still get into those forward positions. I haven't looked at the numbers, how often he's done that with Ugarte rather than Casemiro. Like how often that pair have played together rather than the other way round, because I suspect Ugarte just gives that extra protection if Bruno wanders into forward areas. But it's a live question for Amorim. Like, I don't think the wing-backs are certainties either. Like, I mean, you'd suspect it's going to be Mazraoui and Dorgu, which makes Victor Lindelof's appearance in the back three more likely if he goes with those two, of course. I mean, he could go with Ahmad there.
Dalot's not going to be fit, is he? So it's going to be
Dalot's not going to be fit. Yeah,
I don't think Ahmad will start there. He may well end up there if United are chasing the game and need attacking players on the pitch. As I suspect, Mount will probably start on the bench and end up on the pitch, and Bruno will end up deeper if and when United are chasing the game. That's the kind of thing that managers do in finals. They don't start all their attacking players because it's nice to have those tools off the bench.
The world moves fast. Your workday, even faster. Pitching products, drafting reports, analyzing data. Microsoft 365 Copilot is your AI assistant for work. Built into Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and other Microsoft 365 apps you use. Helping you quickly write, analyze, create, and summarize. So you can cut through clutter and clear a path to your best work. Learn more at Microsoft.com/M365 Copilot.
This episode is brought to you by Stouffer's. Here comes 3-time juggling champion Natalia Rogers. She's juggling law school, her TA job. Oh, narrowly catches the laundry. What's that fourth ball? Parents unexpectedly showed up at dinner time? Is that too much for Natalia? Not with Stouffer's Chicken Alfredo and its mouth-watering mix of Asiago, Romano, and Parmesan. When you're juggling 4 things at once and the clock strikes dinner, think Stouffer's.
But who are the players that are in form for United? It's Casemiro, Bruno, Mount, Ahmad. I mean, you can say he's in form because he was in form earlier in the season. Mazraoui's been playing well. Yeah, so you want to get as many of those as informed players as possible, and you want to have balance. Now, United generally do have balance under Amorim. That's generally not been the problem. Like, Ten Hag had this tendency to play players out of position all the time. Almost never works, right? So Amorim has not done that, unless we're talking about Bruno playing slightly deeper and the persistence with Højlund, but he is playing in his position. So, yeah, how conservative or how attacking he goes. I mean, the most conservative version would have Mazraoui and Dorgu in the wing-back positions, Maguire, Lindelof and another in, in the central three, Bruno, Garnacho and Højlund up front. Like, none of them, well, apart from Bruno, can score goals. I mean, for me, that just, like, how do you score? Like, we can't. I mean, over and over again, we've seen with basically that formation, we don't get enough creativity into it if it's not Bruno.
Yeah, well, the main goal threats from open play anyway are Ahmad, Mount and Bruno, really. Yeah. Everyone else, no one else will really get chances in the team apart from that. Yeah. Casemiro.
Well, Garnacho will shoot. I mean, we know he's going to shoot.
I'm not counting that because I just don't have any confidence that he will finish and actually score it. He'll get in positions, and it's funny we actually haven't mentioned Garnacho up until this point as a potential starter. I almost think it is nailed on. He will be on the bench as that impact player when the game gets stretched. We know that is his strength. Most of his better performances for United have probably come as a substitute when the game is stretched and there are spaces there. I just don't want to see him come on when United have got too much to do. And if United have offered absolutely nothing for 60 or 70 minutes, then what was the point of Garnacho even being on the bench and then coming on? You know, and the same goes for Mount. I guess if he does start on the bench, I suspect he probably will as well. You don't want them coming on with so much to do. Maguire ending up top. I get be conservative in a final, and I get you don't want to sort of concede early to a Spurs team who can be quite rampant when they want to be, and they're probably a bit of a confidence side under Postecoglou as well. So it's a really tricky balance to get. You know that Spurs are going to come at you because that's what they do under Postecoglou. They just go at everyone to their detriment most of the time in the Premier League. So I suspect Spurs will fly out the traps and United will probably have to weather an early storm. It's just whether the sort of the Amorim system, which has allowed us to control a lot of games in terms of possession, not in terms of chances, but defensively relatively solid and good possession is two things you can guarantee, I guess, is whether that comes back into it. We could sort of get a stranglehold on the game like we never did against Villarreal, remember, in those all those years ago. We never really got control of that game. It was a very sort of stop-start game, which United sort of let pass them by, didn't they?
Yeah. No, very much. And that felt like a huge missed opportunity, that one. Against a decent side, but not an outstanding side. I'm not sure you could even call Spurs a decent side. They've been a little less chaotic in European football. I mean, they went it was a bit odd, the game against Bodo Glimt, the second leg where they went long all the time. I guess that was a tactical choice to try and nullify Bodo and also the pitch and all of that and conditions. I mean, it turned out to be a very sensible attacking approach. The other games I'd see them in Europe, they were a little more composed than they have been in the Premier League. In the Premier League, they just concede a lot of stupid goals, right? They play this kind of risky brand of football where they compress everything. And without Maddison, the kind of creative fulcrum of their team, and Kulusevski, who does a lot of the hard running, that's going to be very hard to play that system, I think. I mean, kind of depends. An awful lot of their best players have spent quite a bit of time out of the team this season for injury. Both Romero and Van de Ven at the back have been injured quite a bit this season. Obviously, Kulusevski's now injured. Son's form, although he's played a lot, has dipped. I mean, he's certainly scoring form. It's been Brendan Johnson that's really taken up the kind of scoring mantle. Richarlison's missed almost all the season through injury. Slanky is coming to form, started the season quite badly. So a lot of question marks around the Spurs team as well. Will face. I don't know how much Ruben Amorim would need to adapt his tactical system for Spurs. I suspect not a lot, right? Can we take the sting out of their fast start if that's how they're going to do by controlling possession? Because actually, if you take the whole piece, I mean, like there's individual things you can point to, but the whole piece of Amorim's system, he has stopped a lot of the chaos and the number of shots. Like, we are not conceding 20 shots a game by any means. Now, are we still conceding good chances? Yeah. Does Onana chuck one in every now and again? Absolutely. Can we see the brain dead stuff still? As good as Harry Maguire's form's been, will he be tempted to pass a 5-yard ball to the opposition player? Yeah, for sure. He will. Yeah.
It's on. It's always on. That's the problem. Yeah. You can't trust this lot. We know that. And you especially can't trust them when they're going at stuff and when the chips are down. These past league performances have told me a lot about this team. I know we already knew they were bad and we already knew there was a bit of a mentality problem. But just the lack of urgency, the lack of motivation. I mean, I know we don't need to win. The best we can do in the league is finish 13th or 14th. But Chelsea played poorly the other night, and we let them. We let them just play at half speed and completely waste time towards the end. They didn't really outplay us, but they did enough to beat us because we just rolled over, really.
Yeah, last 15, 20 minutes, I mean, where was the urgency?
There was nothing. There was nothing there.
But that has to be mentality, because if that had been the Europa League semi-final, we'd have been chucking everything at it. We've seen, haven't we, in the Lyon game, the desperation, the urgency, something happened there. The last 15, 20 minutes of that game against Chelsea was just desperately poor. I mean, did all right, competitive for 60 minutes against, as you say, a Chelsea team that did not put in a very good performance and desperately needed the win as well. But yeah, I mean, you'd really hope there wouldn't be a mentality problem in the final. And if we go behind, there won't be okay, we're done. Heads down. We can't come back, because they have come back in games.
Yeah, I guess that's the one thing that gives you hope.
I don't want to start this game too conservatively. I am worried about the selection, and I will be looking at that team really closely, going, okay, what does this look like? I want someone who can run behind. So if it's Bruno and Ahmad up front, well, is there the running without the ball there? I don't know.
Well, it's Højlund, isn't it? Højlund or bust. So that's how bust it is. I guess, like, Yeah, so Garnacho's your man for that if that's what you want to do. But who does Ahmed then have to play wing back, or does Bruno then have to play in the middle? That's the only way that can work. And I think we don't like that balance. The one thing I would do definitely, and I don't think we mentioned him yet, I would start Shaw as the left of the three. I know he's made of glass. You can't rely on his fitness. Blah blah blah.
For one game, it doesn't matter. Yeah,
he's good for one game and a final as well. He's got experience at big finals. I just trust him far more than those other idiots we've got in our squad, basically. So yeah.
I mean, the balance if it was Shaw, Maguire, and Mazraoui would be maybe a little off. You wonder whether that's a little powder puff. But then again, can Maguire take hold of Solanke and the two others, the Johnson and Heung-min Song? There's plenty of pace with Mazraoui and Shaw and Naus and stuff like that. It is the outside to in runs, like, will Shaw go to sleep? I'm less worried about Mazraoui there. So yeah, again, the balance there, big issue. That is where I'm assuming it's Son, Brendan Johnson and Solanke that start for Spurs rather than Richarlison, who's really not played a lot of football this season, but who knows what Ange comes up with.
We're saying 7 nailed on starters for United. If I'm right, I think Onana, Maguire, Mazraoui, Casemiro, Bruno, Dorgu, and Ahmed. Is that what we're saying? And then the other 4, I guess Højlund's probably a nail on.
I mean, I think Højlund's as nailed on as you can get, despite I would
should never be, but yeah.
Anything. I play who's Jorge Vital, the goalkeeper coach.
Yeah,
I play him up front. I mean, if he was prepared to play him rather than Marcus Rashford.
Get me over to Bilbao and I'll play.
yeah.
I'll get pushed around by Christian Romero, no problem.
Jesus. Yes, you're something like that. Guaranteed starters, and then who plays in what roles? I mean, are there options for a surprise? Could we see something different, like Dorgu playing at right wing back and someone else coming into the left, Shaw playing on the left wing back? I mean, it would be a risk given his fitness and just how many minutes he's played to play him in that role with 2 in 1.
He has a goal in a European final from that position in the first 2 minutes of it for England. So
most definitely has. Yeah, absolutely.
Aidan Heaven didn't do his credentials that well, though, did he? When he came out against Chelsea, he didn't.
Yeah,
particularly look up to speed, did he?
He's unfortunate for him. He's been out for a few weeks. If he hadn't had that injury, we might be talking about him as a potential starter in this final. So lot of composure, but yeah, that was a game back after 2 months out. So yeah, something like that. Can we talk about the managers? Because I mean, the context for the clubs are massive, for the managers too. I mean, I suspect Ange will be sacked whether he wins this or not. I mean, Daniel Levy's not the one to make an emotional decision about a cup final victory. I suspect Spurs fans have had enough. Like, what is the excuse, honestly, for how bad they've been in the second season? I mean, you can say injuries, but it's no more injuries than any other club, really.
Just injuries, mate. That's the reason,
mate.
It's funny that, isn't it? The Amorim will almost certainly survive, win or lose the final, and Ange will almost certainly go win or lose the final. I mean, it shows the sort of trajectories that both managers are on, but the lack of an emotional decision to sack a manager even after winning a final, Ed. I mean, I'm getting deja vu from last year's FA Cup, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe Daniel Levy should advise Ineos on some of their decision making. All the things that he has done wrong at Spurs. He is quite a decisive character, and has made some terrible appointments, and they've made some bad signings, but quite a good negotiator and quite a decisive man. So has strengths, for sure.
That's the historical reputation, isn't it? I don't know whether that's true anymore. Apart from the hardball negotiation piece, like they've got a beautiful new stadium, and in the long run, that'll serve them well. And they finance that at the right time, right? They have not been absolutely hamstrung by that at all, because they've made far more money out the new stadium than they've had to pay in debt repayments. And so, net positive for them, but on the pitch, a lot of bad signings.
I mean, they're a lesson to United in terms of the stadium, aren't they? In terms of how to move into one and, like you say, finance it right and get all those things in place to thrive off the back of it, off the pitch. It's just, like you say, I don't get them on the pitch. I like watching them, I think they play some really entertaining stuff. They're probably one of the best teams for the neutrals in the Premier League, but they're just full of holes. They're just, and they are like United, in that they concede the easiest, sloppiest goals, and then I seem to really lack the backbone to come back in games. And they fold very, very easily. They've got some players who you just would not trust to be live, the same way the United do. Players who sort of look the part, but have very little else to them. I think they're a much more physical side than us, though, and that is a concern because
especially
United
midfield.
Still
If it is Basuma and Bentancur, and who would be the third one?
Sarr, I think maybe.
Sarr, yeah. It is a very physical midfield, and United have struggled against midfields like that. I mean, Newcastle being the obvious one, beat us up a couple of times this season. And
maybe that is the reason to start Agate, maybe that alone, that running, the only one who is going to run. I mean, Agate, I've been thinking in recent weeks that Agate is just Fred. They are just the same. They do the same things. We paid 50 million for both of them. Is Agate an upgrade on Fred? No.
It's not clear.
Well, Fred was the kind of player you'd start in big games to run around and to match the opponent's physicality. And maybe that's the kind of thing that you need to do with Agate in this one.
I would argue that Agate is more limited than Fred. I mean, Fred had it was...
How are we back here?
Why? Yeah, no, I know. It's just wildly inconsistent in all phases of his game. So, and I guess Agate is consistent in one phase of his game. But yeah, I mean, look, it's a lesson of the last 10 years of United. Every time we think we're getting rid of some deadwood and upgrading, it's not been an upgrade all over the pitch. So that's just one example of very, very many of those. So for Amorim, if we're 16th next season and in another final, I mean, if it's the Champions League final, I guess there may be some mitigation. Yeah, it seems unlikely that we could be 16th in the table and in the Champions League final, but yeah, who knows?
European specialists.
Yeah, but let's imagine we make a cup final of some sorts and he's 16th. He will go, and he probably won't have made it that far. And that is within the context as well, because if we can't make the changes he wants to make his system work this summer, and I think it's fairly clear by now that we're going to lose 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe 11 players this summer of different types and bring in some others. And if we don't have that money and we can't finance it and we can't make the changes, the chances of him going by November are really, really high, right? Because how do you turn around a team that's just habitually losing? I mean, he's got like a 30% win rate across all competitions, even worse in the Premier League.
It's crazy that. But, he can go down in United folklore with this game. People won't care. If honestly, if this is a win, people will remember how disastrous this season's been in the league, but it will be, I hate to sort of use the cliche, a springboard for a trophy like this, but that is what it is for a club like United and for a manager like Amorim. And if he has that justification and vindication behind him this summer, going into pre-season with a trophy behind him, with Champions League football to draw players. I know he says Champions League football doesn't necessarily draw players, but it does. It does. Mm-hmm. But it's just a vindication that brings, and the confidence, I think, that will come to him and his methods if it happens. So that is why we know it's massive, but that is why it's so big for him.
Absolutely, and that it's not just next season's Champions League; it's the development path, and all players. I mean, I don't know, not all of them think this deeply about it, but their agents and their people will be advising them on the path. So if there's no Champions League football for United next season, there almost certainly won't be the season after that, right? So you're asking a player to commit 5 years to when will United get back into the top tier competition? It's like, I couldn't tell you what the path would be. And if they're smart, they'll be looking at the manager and going, yeah, he's really vulnerable too. And so we could have someone else who might not like me as much, might play a different system. They'll come into the thinking it will end up being a lot of young players this summer, not the Cunha. Well, I mean, Cunha, it looks like they're doing it. He's braver. He's definitely signing on before the final. He might want to wait until after the weekend.
Maybe watch the game, Mateus, and see how it pans out, and then make a decision.
See how you feel about it. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Look, it's for him, it's critical. We could have a scenario in which he's won a trophy, he gets the players he wants, we're feeling good about the summer. I mean, unfortunately, we got to play after the Aston Villa game, we go straight off to Hong Kong to play an exhibition game, which is madness. Yeah.
Who's playing in that? I mean, I don't actually wait to answer that question, but God, who the hell should be playing in that?
Yeah. Bruno does his cruciate and is out all of next season in the game against the Hong Kong All-Stars. Yeah, God, no.
Can't be on that play.
Yeah.
He's got to play internationals as well in June, I think, for Portugal.
Yeah, early June, there's internationals, yeah.
Madness.
Yeah, well, at least to get a rest after that and not off to the Club World Cup, which may come in future years. Who knows? But yeah, for Amorim's absolutely critical. I'd say the odds on him still being United manager in a year's time, if we lose on Wednesday, are very, very small. I don't think that's just me being negative. I just can't see how you turn the same players around. And that's not really commenting on his coaching for some reason, without any evidence whatsoever. I suspect he's a good coach. He's not been able to impart his methods on this group of players, but Sporting have just won the league. That's his squad. And he clearly had something about him that he could turn, albeit a very different makeup of player, like a very young squad at Sporting, into champions. So there's something about him. He's charismatic. He has clarity of thought around what he wants. It's not entirely being applied on the pitch, clearly. Like some of that may be on him and how slow he was to adapt to like changing Casemiro's position, for example. Don't have him doing the counter-pressing. It took him quite a few games to do something that was fairly obvious. It's taken Yoro's development into a player that's comfortable with striding out into midfield to make that build-up phase work in a better way. Clearly not perfect, clearly. It's critical to him, the team, the club as a whole that we win on Wednesday night, and there'll be a whole bunch of red flags if we don't. Just tremendously difficult summer, as I think I said to Dan the other day.
Is this the biggest game since that Villarreal final then? Is that what we're saying?
I think it's bigger because the context is different. Yeah, it's the context is we were running out of cash and we just fired half the staff at the club.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not just austerity Jim, because he loves a P45, although I suspect he might get a little chubby from doing that just because it's Jim.
He likes power.
Yeah, I think he probably does. But yeah, the club's in a worse state than that final. Much worse state.
Yeah. I think it's all building up for a penalty shootout and for Andre Onana to do his best homage to David De Gea in 2021 and just dive past 11 penalties and then miss one himself. I've said this to a few people in the last few days and a few United fans, and they've shuddered in fear. It's not that they don't think it'll happen; it's that the parallels could be crazily similar. Because we know Onana is a terrible penalty saver, right?
God, so bad. You know what? If I was the keeper coach, we mentioned him, or Gay Vital or George Vital. If I was, I'd just say stand still, mate, and see what you can do. See if you can react to one, because there will be one of 5 penalties or 11 penalties or however many it turns out to be that goes fairly straight.
React to the ball and just try and
react to the ball. Don't try and anticipate. I mean, it's his problem with goalkeeping generally, Onana, that he tries to anticipate, so he takes those 2 steps the wrong way and can't get that and the general handling of the ball. Bit of a problem when you're a goalkeeper, and also his famed passing appears to be just banging it along to Rasmus Højlund. So yeah,
only Manchester United could sign a goalkeeper who had been in the Champions League final the previous season, and whose performance in the Champions League group stage for United was so horrific that I'd never want to see him play Champions League football for us again. I mean, that's some career arc. I don't understand how that can happen.
Yeah, and United thought they'd got a deal by getting him for only the 50 million or whatever it was. They thought they'd done Inter over. Turns out Inter got Jan Sommer and an upgrade.
Yep, and they're in the Champions League final again. And it turns out it wasn't just down to Andre Onana that they got there. So there you go.
Well, yes, another team that plays 3 at the back. I mean, not quite 3-4-3, slightly different formation. So I don't think the analogies are perfect there. But yeah, I personally don't think 3 at the back is the problem with United at the moment. The system and the way we're trying to do the attacking and the defensive phases of the play may be a problem and the players, but not necessarily system. But yeah, God, the parallels with that final.
That final still haunts me. It genuinely still haunts me.
Haunts me too, because it absolutely should have won. And I mean, it's just like, what would have happened to Ollie if we had won that? Would he have been given more time? Would we have desperately gone out and signed Ronaldo? Would we have, like, all of these things that could have happened?
I think that it was, everyone wanted to see Ollie win the trophy, didn't they? It's a sort of justification for his tenure, but we'd finished second. We'd finished in the top 4 in 2 consecutive seasons. In his 2 full seasons in charge, we had a way of playing. We had a team. It wasn't perfect. I think he would have given him more time. It would have bought him probably the whole of the next season. It's funny what trophies can do, because we know that Ollie's quote about them is that sometimes they can mask your progress. They can show progress where it's not there. And I think winning the FA Cup under Ten Hag is the justification for that Solskjaer statement. Having said all that, Amorim needs it. He has nothing else to fall back on. He has no league form. He has absolutely nothing else to fall back on. But if he wins this final, then not all will be forgiven, because it's probably the start of something rather than the end of something. But God, it's important. I just don't want to see Spurs win a European trophy, even if it's against us in the final. I don't want to see it.
No, for reasons known only to him. My dad is a Spurs fan, so there'll be some WhatsApp bants for sure.
You're like David Beckham.
Yeah, we're an international family. My dad lives in Australia. I'm over in the States. Sisters are Sheffield Wednesday fans. Long story. Long story. All right, before we go, let's go through your 1 to 11. Not what you think Amorim will do, what you would do if you were manager for the day. You've won the competition. You have a choice between playing up front instead of Rasmus Højlund.
I'll be the manager.
That he won, or your manager for the day. What is your 11? And then we'll have a prediction. So your 11. Dom's 11.
That's what it'll come down to one day. We will be giving competitions out for who'll be the United manager. So for the final, I'm going Onana in goal, Yoro if fit, Maguire, Shaw, Mazraoui, Casemiro, Bruno deep, Dorgu, Ahmad Mount, and then I'll play Mainu as a 9. That's what I'll do. And I've got Garnacho on the bench and Højlund back in Manchester. And my prediction is that I don't want to make a prediction. I think Spurs are going to win. That is my genuine prediction. Maybe an extra time or 2-1 an extra time or something. Sorry.
Oh, please.
I know. I'm never that guy. I'm never that pessimistic guy. But I feel it.
You and Martin Keown predicting a Spurs win. That's Arsenal's Martin Keown.
I'm in no way affiliated to either Arsenal or Spurs, but I just don't see us winning. Sorry.
All right. So my team, Onana, unfortunately, because for all his many, many faults, and I hope this is his last game for United. I'm sure he's a lovely guy, Andre. He seems like a lovely guy, but he's been a failure as United player, but he's better than Altay Bayindir, who's also a terrible keeper. So Onana, Yoro, Maguire, Shaw, and I'm assuming that Yoro is fit. If he's not, Mazraoui, and I'd change the wing-back position. Mazraoui, Casemiro, Ugarte, Dorgu. Ugarte I'd have in there, just the physicality and the transitions. Bruno, Ahmad as the forward, and Garnacho. And I'd probably not have Mount because I'm not sure he's fit enough. But I could be persuaded to play Mount in there instead of Ahmad up front and Ahmad at wing back and Mazraoui back in the back three. If fitness prevails, but I think that would be my 11. But I honestly, when I asked that question on the WhatsApp group, I went onto the lineup builder and did about 12 different variants of that. That's why I'm not paid the big bucks than Ruben Amorim is.
Amorim's going to end up picking Højlund up front, so we've probably both done a better job than that already, to be honest. I know why he's going to do it, but I'd be very, very surprised if Højlund makes a telling difference in this final.
I'd be shocked, and it would be against all logic, and I don't think you could point to it and go, yeah, see? Because
told you so.
Told you so, yeah.
Real shame Josh Xerxes couldn't quite make it back in terms of
It
his
is.
fitness.
He's not a goal scorer, but he'd make the team better for sure. Yeah. You're at the roulette wheel with Højlund, and you're putting everything on a specific number, not even red or black. I don't think there's a 50-50 chance he has a good game. I think there's a minuscule chance he has a good game, because when's the last time he had a good game? So,
2023.
and he scored against Leicester, but he wasn't good in that game, and he miscontrolled it twice before finishing. So I just, and even the one he scored the other day where he had the tap in, he did his very, very best to pass it back to the goalkeeper, who managed to dive over the top of it. So, All right. My prediction, I think United will win somehow in extra time. Harry Maguire, diving header.
Oh, the scenes, imagine.
The scenes, limbs.
Where do you want your statue, Harry?
Absolutely anywhere he wants.
Looking forward to it in a really perverse way, Ed.
All right, yeah, so am I. God. We will be on again tomorrow with a deeper tactical preview with Darnish and Daniel, assuming they can both make it. And I will be doing the match review with a former host, Paul. She was like, I haven't been on for a year. I think I should do the final.
Big games only.
Yeah, big games only. He's earned it. It's fair enough.
Fair enough, yeah.
All right, thanks a lot, Dominic.
Cheers, Ed.
Catch you soon. Thanks a lot, everyone, for listening or watching wherever you are. Catch you again after the game. Bye now.